Okay, we are going to make an angled stripe brush. So I'm going to choose the square canvas, that's 2048 by 2048. And then I'm going to edit. So I go into Canvas, do crop and resize. And I'm going to change this. I tap on settings, as you see. I tap on this infinity symbol right here. It's actually 2 chain links. And we're going to make this 2040 because it's easier to divide. And now we're going to turn on the drawing guide, edit drawing guide, and let's see, 2040 divided by 20 because I want 20 stripes. Is 102. So my grid size down here, I'm going to tap on this 64px and I'm going to turn it to 102. And we'll give that a done. Then we'll give that another done. We're going to be using the monoline brush under calligraphy. I haven't modified this one. It is at 100%. I'm going to make sure that layer 1 has drawing assist. That's third from the bottom right here. And then I'm going to draw a line going up and down. Now, if I click on the transform tool, that's the arrow up here at the top. I go to snapping and make sure that magnetics is turned off. And then when I tap on this fit to canvas, it simply centers that. Now if we zoom in, you'll see that there's a little fuzz going on either side. I don't want that fuzz. So I'm going to do an automatic selection. And yes, that's the S ribbon. You can see it highlighted up there. I'm going to tap to either side of the line. And then I'm going to clear. I can still see a bit of a line there. So I'm going to S-shape ribbon again. And I'm going to tap and then drag to the right until that line goes away. And I will clear again. Now, it's a nice, solid black line. And it is perfectly centered on our grid. It's difficult to see that. Let's fix that. Edit drawing guide. Let's go to a blue-green, dark, done, and there you go. Zoom in, and you can see that my center line here matches up perfectly with the grid. Now what I want to do is duplicate this, and I am going to slide this over 2 grids. I'm going to put the magnetics back on. And I'm going to slide this over. We've got this grid and we've got this grid. And I just want to make sure that it is perfectly centered there. I think that did it. Yes, it did. And then I'm going to merge that down. I'm going to lower the opacity, duplicate it, and move this over here. And make sure that there's no overlaps, and I see overlaps. So let's zoom in here, tap it that way. Nope. Tap it that way. There we go. Now it's no longer overlapped. And then we up the opacity and merge down. lower the opacity, duplicate, and move over. And then, once that's all matched up, you can see that we have a grid space and then the edge. So I'm just going to duplicate this layer again. I'm going to move it all the way over here. And that puts half right there on that line. Up the opacity on all three layers and merge them together. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to create another layer and fill it. Reduce its opacity so I can see. Then I'm going to select layer 3 and the top layer 1. And I am going to rotate 45 degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And that bookmarks both sides very nicely. We can merge this down. And then I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to turn off this first layer 1 because I need something in case I mess up. I'm going to hit my transform tool and rotate 45 degrees. There we go. I'm going to duplicate that layer 1 and I'm going to slide it 45 degrees up. Duplicate that layer 1 again and slide it 45 degrees down. And then merge these three layers together. Now we can duplicate, and we're going to go this way 45 degrees. But I need to be able to see this better. So I'm going to, once again, reduce opacities. And now I will move it 45 degrees down. Doesn't matter how far you go. The important thing is to have it nicely matched. And then I'm going to duplicate that layer 1 and tap it down. We want it to cover up all of our little spaces. And when I zoom in, it matches up perfectly. Raise the opacity again. Merge these layers together. Duplicate. And then create a new layer and fill it. Reduce the opacity, and we're going to take the layer 4 and the top layer 1 and rotate it 45 degrees 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And that bookmarks them together there. I can now delete this layer 4. That's max, that's a max, and we merge these down. So there we have a nice angled stripe going on. However, I do not believe that it is going to match correctly, so let's fix that. We'll duplicate this one twice. We'll turn off the bottom layer 1, and the reason we do this, of course, is so that we get our stage saved. I'm going to fill layer 5 and reduce the opacity. Duplicate it. Take the top layer 5 and the first layer 1, and we're going to slide that off to the left until it snaps. Now, my snapping is set with a distance of 10 and a velocity of 1.6 in case yours is not working the same way mine is. Now let's take the second layer 5 and the second layer 1, and we're going to put it halfway this direction. And as you can see, it's not quite matching correctly. So, snapping, magnetics, and snapping on. There we go. Now it's sliding, right? Now let's go to distort. And I'm just moving this part of it. And let's see how well that matches. Yes, that matches up very nice, except for down here where we've gone and warped it. So if we take this layer 1 that we're working on and duplicate it, and then slide it down to here. Notice I'm going 45-degree angle there. And now it matches all the way down at the bottom. Let's merge these 3 layer 1s together. I'm going to delete this layer 5, do a fill on this one, reduce the opacity, and then I'm going to duplicate the layer 5 and duplicate the layer 1. Take the top layer 5, the top layer 1, move it down until it snaps. The second layer 5 and the second layer 1, move it up until it snaps. And you can see that it doesn't quite match there. So I'm going to use the distort again, slide it this way. That looks good. Then once again we're going to take this bottom layer 1 and duplicate it and slide it down at a 45-degree angle to fill this up. Remembering, of course, that this one can be a real pain. I'm still on my monoline, so I can just kind of fill that in manually. There we go. Now, we're going to merge that down, duplicate it. We still have a space there. I need to get rid of that. And there we go. We now have the 3 layer 1s that we put together, and it matches left, right, up, and down, and it's still at a nice angle. So, to test this, I'm going to duplicate it 4 times. Turn the bottom one off. And we're just going to do a uniform resizing until it snaps to the metal on each one of these. So, then this direction, and then this direction, and then this direction. And it's still slightly off. So I'm going to keep doing what I was doing. We'll speed through this real quick. And let's see if I can get a good match. Okay, and I am satisfied with this. It's still slightly off, but not enough to cause me problems. I'm going to invert this. Invert is 1, 2, 3, 4 from the bottom. That makes it all white. We will copy this, turn it off, and I'm going to create a new brush. Click on the plus sign, go to Grain, tap on Edit here in the center, and then you're going to choose Import and then Paste. Tap. We'll click on Done. And as you can see, that creates a nice stripe brush. Let us go down to the Apple Pencil, turn the opacity all the way off, go to Properties, let's put maximum size at 400, and then we will click Done, and there is our brush. We're going to turn off Drawing Assist, just so we don't have to see it. And let's see what we can do with this particular brush. If I have Drawing Assist on, and I create a nice thin line there, and a thicker line there. Well, let's put the thicker line on another layer. Okay. Duplicate this. I'm going to put it halfway. Then I'm going to put it halfway again. Do the same thing with this one. Duplicate it. Halfway. And halfway again. Merge these together. Invert. Copy. And I'm just going to duplicate this brush. Go down to the Grain, Edit, Import, and Paste. Paste. And done. And done. And let's see. And look there, we have a buffalo plaid. You can also create a speaker grill. And now I'm just going to go through real quick. I'm going to show you some other patterns that I have made using this, mostly plaid patterns. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. A heart pattern. A double line pattern. A double line pattern. A thicker double thin line pattern. Single thin on the edges, double thick in the middle. A triple thick, single thin line pattern.